We'll talk about the main news of the weekend next on Freedom. This is our time. My name is Mikhail Baranov. Hello. One civilian woman was killed as a result of a Russian drone attack on the Sumy region. The occupiers struck the residential area of one of the villages in the region. 3 houses in several outbuildings burned down. When rescuers arrived at the scene of the fire, the Russians struck a second time. According to preliminary information, none of the state emergency service employees were injured. All the fires have been extinguished. Russian troops attacked the settlement of Zynotnik near Kherson. As a result, 2 people were wounded, a teenage girl and her father. They suffered blast and traumatic brain injuries, concussions, as well as shrapnel wounds. Both victims have been hospitalized. The Russian army struck Izium in the Kharkiv region with a drone. According to the prosecutor's office, the occupiers used 4 Garand II-type UAVs. 2 people were injured, and houses as well as the building of a non-operational enterprise were damaged. In the Kupiansk district of the Kharkiv region, the Russians struck with 3 FAB-250 aerial bombs. They were dropped from tactical aviation aircraft. 6 people were injured. Residential houses and outbuildings were damaged, as well as the building of one of the village councils. On Sunday night, Russian forces also attacked Zaporizhia. The occupiers launched 14 attack drones at the city and shelled it with a multiple rocket launcher system. They targeted residential areas. Fortunately, no one was injured. The blast wave only damaged 2 9-story apartment buildings and 1 private house. The windows there were blown out. More on the aftermath of the attack in our next report.
One of the Russian drones crashed at night near the 9-story building where Leonid lives. The explosion was so powerful that all the glass on the balcony shattered instantly, the man recalls.
It was a hell of a bang, for sure.
I'm telling you, guys.
The whole place just shook. The building, the glass started falling. People began running outside.
Several more explosions followed. Leonid's neighbor, Lyubov, says it was so terrifying that even after the air raid was over, she couldn't fall asleep.
It was really loud, incredibly loud. Of course, it was scary. My 3 cats were so frightened they hid, and I only got them out in the morning.
As soon as dawn broke, utility workers came out to clean up after the night's Russian attack. They picked up shards of glass and window frames and boarded up the window openings with wooden panels. Residents of the damaged 9-story building also came out to help them.
The residents are coming out to help. What else can we do? God willing, everyone is alive. The most important thing is that people are alive. Everything else can be cleaned up.
The Zaporizhia region's towns and villages also came under Russian attack last night, according to the regional military administration. As a result of the attacks, 3 elderly women were injured, 7 private homes were destroyed, their windows and doors blown out, and roofs damaged. Ola Prydikin and Boris Yakovenko reporting from Zaporizhia for Freedom TV channel. Russia launched nearly 60 attack drones at Ukraine last night. Air Defense Forces shot down 18 kamikaze drones, and another 7 were neutralized by electronic warfare systems. The main targets of the Russian occupiers' strikes were the Zaporizhia, Donetsk, Kharkiv, Sumy, and Dnipropetrovsk regions. Ukraine urgently needs additional air defense systems to protect against Russian strikes on the rear. This was reported by Christian Frontline, head of the Situation Center for Ukraine at the German Ministry of Defense. Russia is actively expanding its production capabilities to deploy drones against Ukraine on a massive scale. According to him, the simultaneous use of up to 2,000 drones could pose a serious challenge for Ukraine's air defense system. Russia is increasingly attacking Ukraine, particularly Kiev, using drones and missiles. Last year, we saw drones, usually about 100, used together with cruise, ballistic, and in some cases even hypersonic missiles. Now the situation has changed. Russia is planning airstrikes at intervals of 3, 4, or 5 days, using up to 700 or 800 UAVs along with dozens of cruise missiles, focusing on a single target. Let's take the example of the Shahid drone. It costs somewhere between 30 and 50,000 euros. It's absurd to fight it with Patriot-guided missiles, which cost over 5 million. Essentially, we need countermeasures that cost 2, 3, or 4,000 euros.
There have been more than 150 engagements on the front line in the past 24 hours. The most intense situation is near Pokrovsk, where the enemy attacked 50 times. Fighting continues in the Lyman area, where the Russian army launched more than 20 assault attempts. Another 9 attacks were recorded in the Torets direction and 16 in the Novopavlivka direction. As military experts note, the most important thing is that the so-called summer offensive operation, which the Russians had announced, has failed.
Putin gave dozens of orders and instructions to capture the entire Donetsk region, including Kostyantynivka, Kramatorsk, and Sloviansk. But all of that has failed. We can see since May, when the operations were already planned, and from the beginning of July, they started to put them into action. It's already July now. So in this situation, there is a disruption. About a week and a half ago, they had a pause in their offensive altogether because their resources were depleted. That strategic format of the offensive has failed.
1,040 Russian soldiers were eliminated by the Ukrainian Defense Forces over the past day. According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Ukrainian defenders also destroyed 3 Russian tanks, 9 armored combat vehicles, 53 artillery systems, and 1 multiple launch rocket system yesterday. Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, the Russian army has lost almost 1,042,000 soldiers. The Atesh movement carried out a successful sabotage operation near the railway tracks outside Tula, a crucial logistics hub that plays a strategic role in Russia's defense industry. As a result of the operation, a relay cabinet responsible for controlling traffic on this section was destroyed.
The damage to the cabinet caused serious disruptions in railway traffic, which critically affected the timely delivery of ammunition, weapons, and dual-use components from Tula factories such as KBP, Tomasz Savid, the cartridge plant, and the machine-building plant. This route was actively used to supply troops on the Kharkiv and Sumy fronts. The agents' actions not only led to delays in the movement of military cargo and disruptions in the shipment schedule of defense industry products, but also to significant demoralization among the occupiers. From a statement by the Atesh movement on Telegram.
The administration of U.S. President Donald Trump plans to redistribute arms supplies to allies according to a new principle. In the future, priority will be given to those countries that are ready to provide Ukraine with weapons from their own stockpiles, particularly Patriot systems. This is reported by the Wall Street Journal. We will share the details in our report.
The Pentagon has begun taking the first steps to facilitate arms deliveries to Ukraine. This happened after U.S. President Donald Trump supported the allocation of additional military aid to Kiev in mid-July. 8 countries have already joined the initiative to purchase American weapons.
As more countries agree to supply Patriots from their arsenals to Ukraine, the Trump administration will continue to revise future delivery plans, giving priority to these allies. From the report by the Wall Street Journal.
On July 14th, U.S. President Donald Trump and NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte agreed that the United States would sell weapons to Ukraine through Europe, which would pay for them. According to the Telegraph, Europeans may use frozen Russian assets for this purpose. Germany is already prepared to transfer the 2 air defense systems it has to Ukraine.
President Trump has put forward an important initiative. The United States is ready to provide Ukraine with weapons financed by European partners. Germany wants to make an important contribution to this. We need to discuss the details with our partners as soon as possible. First and foremost, we need clarity on how the weapon systems provided by European countries will be replaced by the United States.
Global media suggests that in the coming week, even more agreements on arms supplies will be reached between the United States and its allies. The Trump administration is seeking to make individual agreements with each NATO member regarding arming Ukraine, and this process will be overseen by the Pentagon. This concerns not only air defense systems, but also both offensive and defensive weapons. Sweden and Denmark have also announced that they will fund American weapons for Ukraine.
We don't have systems like Patriot, so if we decide to get involved, and we're absolutely ready to do so, it will be a matter of funding, and we'll need to work out the details. It's possible that the Ukrainians will buy them themselves, in which case we'll have to support Ukraine, or it could be a direct payment to the U.S. I think we need to work out the details. The most important thing is that now we have America's willingness to supply this desperately needed weaponry.
Australia has begun delivering Abrams tanks to Ukraine, which had previously been blocked by the U.S. Kyiv has already received most of the 49 U.S.-made M101 Abrams tanks that Australia provided to Ukraine as part of a $160 million aid package to defend against Russian aggression. Previously, the delivery of Abrams tanks was delayed due to the lack of a decision from the U.S.
The M1A1 Abrams tanks will make a significant contribution to Ukraine's ongoing fight against Russia's illegal and immoral invasion, according to a Reuters report.
The U.S. House of Representatives rejected an amendment that would have prohibited the use of funds for Ukraine. This was reported by Republican Congressman Don Bacon. The Hill reports that the bill, which was passed by an overwhelming majority, provides for approximately $832 billion to be allocated for funding defense programs for the 2026 fiscal year. Ukrainian Prime Minister Yulia Sviridenko stated that Volodymyr Zelenskyy and Donald Trump have also reached an agreement on American investments in the production of Ukrainian drones.
There is a political agreement. We're talking about investments in expanding production in Ukraine. Now, the new Minister of Defense, Denis Shmyhal, will be working out this proposal with the American side. From here, it will move on to technical work. Yulia Sviridenko, Prime Minister of Ukraine.
Earlier, the president of Ukraine told the New York Post in an interview that he is discussing with Donald Trump the possibility of signing a mega deal under which the U.S. would buy Ukrainian drones that have been battle-tested, and in return, Ukraine would purchase a certain amount of American weapons. Natalia Husova, Volodymyr Shkendalov for Freedom TV channel.
And now, moving on to a topic that is currently being actively discussed around the world. Ukraine has proposed to Russia to hold a third round of negotiations next week. This was announced by President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. The proposal was conveyed to the Russian side by the Secretary of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council, Rustem Umerov. Zelenskyy emphasized that it is necessary to increase the pace of negotiations and do everything possible to achieve a ceasefire. The Ukrainian leader also stressed that he is ready for a personal meeting with Putin.
The Russian side needs to stop avoiding decisions, prisoner exchanges, returning children, ending the killings. And a meeting at the leaders' level is needed to truly ensure a lasting peace. Ukraine is ready for such a meeting. And one more thing. We all must remember that the independence of our state is based on the resilience and patriotism of our people, our Ukrainian heroes, heroes from different times who have defended and continue to defend Ukraine.